I'm glad that's not my car. Bore da pawb. Today I'm going to talk to you about planning a successful future for children through real-life experiences. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Joey, and I'm a primary PGCE student. Okay, so here's a quote from the main man himself, which inspired me to create the lesson. So at least I hope you said this anyway. Ooh, that's not one there. There we go, sorry, there's the one. So lessons are to be fun, interesting, and not something just to pass assessments and qualifications. Okay, so the learning objective for this lesson was to calculate change. I created a triangle where I took the LNF skill the children were currently learning and linked it with their topic, 999 emergency services, to create a rich task. I began the introduction to the lesson by explaining what change is, by giving the children a scenario like this. Next, I introduced the number line method, which the children had already been practicing in class to calculate the change. Here is an example of how we calculated change. We used jumps of 10 because the children felt it was easier to count in that way. So, each activity lasted for 8 minutes, and this was displayed as a time bomb on the board so the children could see how long they had to complete the task. And there is a picture of it there. So, this activity required the children to use an ICT device, and what they had to do was battle against each other and pay for the items using the coins on their device. This was called money math. This activity was a focus task, and this was linked to the number line method that we were practicing at the beginning of the lesson. And what the children had to do was simply use the number line method and calculate how much change they would receive. This activity was called bingo coin recognition. What the children had to do was there'd be one caller who holds up a coin, a picture of a coin, and then the other children would have to see if they had that on their grid. And if they did have it, they would cover it with a green square like this. And the first one to have all covered in green would get bingo. Activity 4, this was an activity that was linked to their topic, 999 emergency services. What they had to do was build their fire engines as part of the topic. So I linked this to their maths activity, where they had to create a shopping list of what they needed, and this was then also scaffold for the children who needed extra support. Now, for those of you who like a good quote, Maria Montessori said, children learn best through experiences in their environment. So then, this theory was put into practice, and all the activities that I just spoke about just now led to this point. I created a garage using real props and real money to create a real-life experience for the children, which enabled them to work in a garage, buying and selling items to build their fire emergency vehicles. Apologies for that bad picture, by the way. I took it literally just off the cuff, so it wasn't the best environment, but it was a lot better than it looks, trust me. And this is just an example of what they had in front of them. So they had a price list of all the parts, and then they used different combinations of money to pay for each item. So they used, for example, for the tyre, it was £1. They could have used £1, 5 20p's, or 2 50p's. So it was just teaching them to use different ways of calculating a total price. And then one person would work behind the cash register, and then they would give them change. So they were dealing with real money. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope you've taken this experience away with you, and it will help with your future teaching. Diolch yn fawr.